Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ohio State Primetime Live, presented by FanDuel here at Ohio State, the voice of college football. I'm your host, as always, on a Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Garrison, ready to bring you all the Ohio State news and everything else that has to do with Ohio State going around this landscape of college football. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, check out our awesome writers that we have at our website at www.vocfb.com, where our writers keep you up to date with everything going around the sport, and I mean every day, whether that be for Ohio State, the team up north, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Nebraska. We have it all here for you at the Voice of College Football. Well, everyone, fun show tonight. I believe we have some things to talk about. Well, the first part's not going to be fun. The first part's not going to be fun, and we're going to read about it and break it down. Of course, we're going to be talking about Ohio State's recent president resigning today, and not under the greatest of pretenses, or the greatest reasons in all reality. So let's get to it here. We're going to read this article. Of course, if you don't know the news already, Ted Carter resigned as the president at the Ohio State University, and we're going to read this article here that goes over it. This is from the AP. Of course, the Ohio State University president resigns after reporting inappropriate relationship. Ohio State University is investigating after President Walter Ted Carter Jr. resigned abruptly over the weekend following the disclosure of an inappropriate relationship with a woman seeking public resources for her personal business, the university said Monday. Carter, 66, said in a statement that he had resigned voluntarily after informing the university's board of trustees of his error. He did not elaborate on the nature of their relationship and whether it was romantic. His statement indicated that he and his wife, Linda, are still a couple. For personal reasons, I have made the difficult decision to resign from my role as president of the Ohio State University, he said. I disclosed to the board of trustees that I had made a mistake in allowing inappropriate access to Ohio State leadership. Board chair John Zager accepted Carter's resignation in a letter dated Sunday, a day after trustees held a private executive session. Spokesperson Ben Johnson said Carter was not present at the session, but that trustees were aware of the situation before they met. The board was surprised and disappointed to learn of this matter and takes the situation and its potential impact on the university very seriously, Zager wrote. We respect your decision and appreciate your cooperation in the supporting an orderly leadership transition. The board had been pleased with Carter's work overall. Trustees awarded him with more than $50,000 merit raise. Awarded him with a $50,000 merit raise in August, on top of his $1.1 million annual salary, as well as nearly $400,000 bonus. His contract was supposed to run through 2028. Ohio State presidents also are provided residency at a roughly $3.6 million mansion in a Tony Columbus suburb. Johnson said that the university has opened an investigation to Carter's property as it's couldn't understand if I get that word out, as it also works to put in place a leadership transition plan. The latter could be detailed as soon as this week, he said. In the absence of the president, the university's daily operations will fall to members of Carter's former cabinet, Johnson said, which includes the chief of staff, 2 executive vice presidents, and 7 senior presidents. In the event of an emergency, the school's public safety professionals would take direct action, which is also the case. Ohio State, all right, basically you get the gist. The rest of this just goes over basically bigger picture stuff. But these are my first thoughts on this. I'm really intrigued to see what it was. Of course, in here it says they don't know if it was like if it was sexual or not. I mean, or if there was an inappropriate personal, I said sexual, intimate relationship happening with whoever said lady is. And so if you were on X at all today, of course, when the news came out and when people read inappropriate relationship, the first thing that's going to go through their mind, especially what's been happening. I mean, in general, but especially what happened at the University of Michigan and former coach Jerome Moore, people are going to think, of course, what most of our brains, even mine, led to. Of course, inappropriate means, of course, he's giving the girl, whoever the girl, money, access to Ohio State leadership, and clear, like maybe it was something that he probably should. She is someone that he should not have had around Ohio State, whether that be romantically or whether that be just business wise when it comes to money. Now, for me personally, whether no matter what it is, he can't be the president at Ohio State. If it was a romantic relationship, of course, that's inappropriate. Now, how do I want to say this? It's life, and people make decisions with the opposite sex. We all know that happens, but in certain positions, you cannot do those type of things. That's one. On the other side, and this is what's actually like crazy about it. The juicier thing is always going to be something that's like intimate like that, right? But what's more detrimental to Ohio State as the institution is you doing something business wise, and giving someone access. I mean, you're the school president, so I mean, you're as high as it gets outside of that, but also your board of trustees and people that matter, and people on different boards and people that have great standing with Ohio State and leadership wise. There, you can't have people like that around that you believe are a detriment to the institution. And so he did resign. I'm glad he did, because he can't be there. He can't be here anymore or there anymore in Columbus. Also, to add on to that, I do think it's funny that, just to go back on what I said, that other people, they want to take shots at Ohio State, especially rival fans, one rival specifically. And I get it. I understand. Like that's just the way rivalry banter goes. With that being said, this is not something that affects the Ohio State program. Now, like someone from like my dad, right, who's an Ohio State grad. This is something like I talked to him earlier about it, because I texted it to him, and he said, "Yeah, that's a bad look." My dad has met Ted Carter. My dad frequents at Ohio State as a grad. He loves that place. That's where he grew as a man, right? But that's something for him to be upset about. Now, me personally, I am not a grad of Ohio State. I am a pure fan by blood because of my father. So in all reality, I can care less about him leaving. Also, but I will say good on him, for bringing this forward. It wasn't an investigation that found this out. Like, this isn't the Sherrone Moore situation where rumors are like going around the program and around Ann Arbor, and your players and other coaches know about it, and Warden Manuel hears about it, and they interview you and the girl who works for you there. That this isn't the same type of situation, but nonetheless, it is a bad situation because, again, I'm gonna say it again. The reason, if this is solely allocating funds to her or business things like that and getting her access to high-ranking people at Ohio State, that is much worse than him having an intimate relationship with her. So I do want to point that out. But that's that. He's gone. We'll see what comes of it. But on the other end of it, though, the question begins: who is next? Who comes back up? And of course, with Ohio State being what it is and who it is, like what it is as an institution and as a global brand and one of the biggest brands in the nation of the US of A, the question is who comes up next. And the first person that you ask any Ohio State fan who they would like to have come be the president at Ohio State, who else should it be other than Sweater Vest himself, 2002 season, 2002 national championship winning coach Jim Tressel, Jimmy T. And he serves in the as the attorney in the Ohio government. I don't know why I'm back. I can't remember his position right now, but I that for me personally would be the person you grab. That's who you ask. I wouldn't even ask any. Well, you ask other people, but he's the first call you make. Jim Tressel embodies everything that Ohio State is. And you're not just talking about football here. Even when he was the head coach at Ohio State, we were calling him the president of Ohio. He means that much to the state. In football, I call since Jim Tressel came to Ohio State, and then you get to now with Ryan Day, I call this the golden era of Ohio State football, and that is off the back of Jim Tressel. And you think about the ties that he has in the state of Ohio and outside the state of Ohio, but then also him as a man and him as a person. If you don't know about him, he's a very devout Christian. He is everything you want your institution to embody. And so that would be my choice too. I would love for Jim Tressel to come back to Ohio State. I think he would be the right man for the job. I believe that he embodies everything that Ohio State is and that the state of Ohio is. And of course, everyone knows that I'm born and raised in Michigan. I'm a Michigander, very proud of it. But I have a lot of love for the state of Ohio because I spent plenty of summers there, plenty. And so, and games there and time there, got family there, a lot of ties there with friends. And so, yeah, that'll be my first choice. So let me know, what do you guys think about the situation? Who do you want Jim Tressel as a new president? I think that for most fans, that is exactly where our mind goes. And I bet you it's not even fans. I bet most Ohio State. Thank you, Doreen, Lieutenant Governor. Shout out to my friend Doreen in here. Montana, I see you in here. Emily, Jan, I love you guys. Glad to have you here. Ben Vargo, see you here too, brother. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Of course, if you haven't already, everybody, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you're watching on X right now, go do the same. Hit the like button, retweet, share, do all that. And if you're watching after the fact, comment. Who do you think should be the next Ohio State president, and how do you feel as the about the whole Ted Carr situation? Hey, Montana, look, no. Look, I will always say this. I love Urban Meyer. I love everything he did for the Ohio State program. He's the second greatest coach of his generation. Never lost to the team up north. That guy can't be the next president at the Ohio State University. That would oh man, you would need cameras in his office just to make sure he's doing the right thing. But yeah, that's funny, Urban Meyer. But Montano says, Garrison, bro, to be honest, I would love Tress to come back. He changed our program. Yes, he did. He changed Ohio State football for the better, man. All right, he can be a consultant. Okay, Urban can be a consultant. I had a joke, but I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, and Emily, helped someone promote their business or something, but dumb. Yeah, it is dumb. And that's the funny part. This is honestly dumber than you cheating on your wife. Oh, this sounds. Oh God, this is gonna sound. Wait. Let me backtrack on that. This is worse for the university than them finding out about him having an inappropriate, intimate relationship. I don't even know if he would get fired for having an intimate relationship because, again, this is not the same situation as Sharon Moore. We're not talking about someone who's a staffer at Ohio State. The problem is that you're help promoting someone's business through Ohio State, and you probably shouldn't have been doing it for whatever reason. And that's why I can't wait for this investigation to come out, because we're going to talk about this once more news comes out. But yeah, I backtrack on what I was about to say, because I worded that terribly right there. Yeah. Oh man, Urban Meyer's the type of guy like, never mind. See, Montana, you're trying to get me in trouble, bro, and I'm not gonna do that tonight, because sometimes I can go off the cuff and say wild things when I'm not really trying to. How I almost said what's worse between. Yeah, you see, yeah, you're trying to get me in trouble, Montana. That's not gonna happen tonight. But yeah, but that's that, man. Jimmy T, if you ever see this, you probably don't, but please come be the president for the Ohio State University, the place that you love so much, and we probably love you more. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. All right, I didn't say it. Doreen said it. There we go. By the way, man, guys, Doreen sent me the funniest meme today. I can't repeat it on these airways, but it was hilarious. Hey man, shout out to Daniel Henry, OHIO. How you doing tonight, Garrison? I'm doing good, man. By the way, I mean, listen, it was 70 degrees in Michigan today. One of my coworkers, he brought like 5 lawn chairs, and we put them in front of the office. We all sat out there during lunch. That was fun. Had some lobster tacos for lunch, man. Came home, raked, the snow's gone, so raked up the rest of the leaves that were there for like 20 minutes. And then now I'm here with you guys. So no, it's been a great day, but I appreciate that, Daniel. But let's move on with the show here, everybody. Of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button. But on to the next. So, of course, spring ball is about to start. There's a lot of new faces around the program, whether that be players, whether that be, really just one or a couple coaches. Of course, the popular one being Arthur Smith from the NFL. But I want to run through you guys some of the big questions that I personally have for this Ohio State team going into spring ball, and then also what players we should be watching. So my first question is this. What does the offensive line look like? Of course, Ohio State just hired another offensive line assistant to go under Tyler Bowen. And then, of course, you have Arthur Smith, who is a guy who's very good at the run game, really good with the offensive lines. And, when you look at the O-line, of course, you bring back Sarabeld. He played left tackle last year for us, of course. Luke Montgomery's coming back in his 3rd year of starting. Carson Hinsman, Josh Padilla, Phillip Daniels. All these guys are coming back, and the question is, who's going to be starting this year? Do we see a shakeup? Honestly, because we don't know what Arthur Smith wants out of his offensive line. And then also some guys, maybe they took a jump and they're better than others. Depending on where you look, a lot of people believe that Phillip Daniels should not be the right tackle next season or this season. I believe the same. I think he's better suited at guard. If not that, a swing offensive lineman, put him anywhere you want but center. But I also think when you look at guys like Ian Moore, Carter Lowe, really high talented guys, I ask myself, is there a chance for them to take that next step? And we've talked about this multiple times here on this program. And I thought Ian Moore last year as a redshirt freshman, when he got in the game, he played very well for the spot duty he was in for the time he had. Of course, we didn't see any of Carter Lowe last year. Guys like Gabe Bensickle and Padilla got in. I thought that, both of them in the one start they played well. The first start they both had, they played well. And then against Miami, where Gabe didn't play as good as Josh, but Josh didn't play that great at all either. He had a good third quarter, but then they kind of started to take over. The Miami defensive line did. So yeah, those are just a few things I worry about the offensive line. Just what does it look like? Is there going to be a shakeup? Do you guys see some people move around? I've talked to a lot of people They think that Cerebell should move back to right guard. I think Ian Moore get put at right tackle. So we could maybe that's an option that the coaches have. But yeah, that's the first question for the spring. What does the offensive line look like? The second one is the wide receiver rotation. New faces, a lot of new faces. Only bringing back 2 returning starters on this team, that being Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ennis. But of course, you bring in Quinn. You bring in Kyle Parker. You have 2 highly talented freshmen coming in Guilford and Henry Jr. And so the question is, who plays where? How many snaps do guys get? Are guys better than someone else? The big question right now that I've had, Mike and I had it last week, between Kyle Parker, if he's playing inside, and Brandon Ennis. Now, I think that's the big one right now, but I also believe that the question of who plays on the other side of Jeremiah Smith is just as important. I can trust Brandon Ennis to go out there and play good football. I can do that. I'm very comfortable with Brandon Ennis starting and being the primary guy. I would be okay. I would be okay with him being wide receiver 2 because I think he has the talent to do so, and also because there are a lot. He was open a lot last year, and that's the truth of the matter. And I think sometimes when people think about him being open, they're like, okay, well, why did he get the ball? Well, the ball was going to a lot of other guys too, and Julian was still throwing 77%, so it's not like he's out there just missing guys. So that's that. Just what does the wide receiver rotation look like, and who's going to be starting, who's going to get in a lot, who's where, who's doing what? That's really what I want to know. Number 3, how does the RB room shake up? This spring, our 2 top guys are not going to be there. That being Lamar Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, the thumper of the group, of those 2. And after that, you're talking about Jacoby. You're talking about Turbo Rogers. Then you have freshman Favorite Key, and of course Legend Bay. I think that there's a lot of talent in that room. Of course, Jacoby, he's an older guy. He's been injured, so he hasn't really played much. But he'd be the veteran in there. And then you're talking about Favorite Key, true freshman. What does he look like along with Legend Bay? And then someone that Turbo Rogers is really interesting because he was a top 10 running back in his class coming out of high school. Of course, everyone thought that he was going to. Of course, he committed to Alabama. They ended up decommitting and going to Ohio State late in the cycle, or almost late in the cycle. And I think that there's a lot of talent in this room, but Turbo Rogers is the guy I'm looking at along with Legend Bay in this, because I think if Turbo Rogers is what a lot of us believe he can be coming out of high school, that gives Ohio's, and assuming that West and Jackson will be fine going into the season, I think for people that forgot that Turbo Rogers was at Ohio State, that's going to bolster the running back room there. So yeah, that's the question number 3. How's the running back room shake up? Number 4, edge depth. Now, of course, returning this season, we have Kenyatta Jackson Jr. coming into his senior year. That was huge for Ohio State to bring him back. I also thought he had to come back. Clearly he thought the same. Zion Grady, true sophomore coming into this season, played a lot last year. Was the first defensive end off the bench, or off the sideline, better way to say it. And he played very good. Very good for a freshman, a true freshman. But behind them, what does it look like? Bo Atkinson is still Columbus. Last year, he did not play well. I actually thought he could be serviceable last year, but I don't believe he was even that. And that's why he got passed up by a true freshman, Zion Grady. After that, you're talking about transfer from Alabama, Quay Russo. Talented guy. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in a few minutes here. And then you're talking about guys who I'm big on, like Epi, Tele, who we're going to talk about here soon too. But the right now, I think there's a bunch of unknowns in that room. When it comes to the defensive tackle room, I'm very confident in that class, in like a group of guys. I think that defensive tackle room for Ohio State is going to be top 5 in the country. But the edge room, there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of freaky athletes in all reality in that room. The problem is, or I wouldn't call it a problem, but the thing is that we haven't seen these guys play a lot. Russo over at Alabama, he was a rotational guy. Epi, he got in some plays last year, didn't play bad at all. I thought he did well for the time he got. But we're going to need him to be big this season. We're going to need him to take a big jump this year. Guys, hey, listen, Bo Atkinson. This is gonna be your second year at Ohio State now. Okay, you're an older guy. You had some time over North Carolina as a starter, but now the expectation is bigger, and even more so now that you've had a year in the system already. So that room right there, I really want to see how they shape up, because I want to see what was said out of camp about some of these guys, because if this room can give you a B+ of a season, I think that's going to be really well, because it has to be B+ enough. I won't accept anything lower than a B+. And of course, everyone wants A. You want that to be the standard, but that's not reality. So that's how I feel about that room, and the question I have for them right there. Next is the cornerback depth. I think all of us fully expect, and I don't think it's going to shape up any other way, that Jermaine Matthews and Devin Sanchez are going to be the starters. But what comes up after that? Look, we have a really talented guy, like Dominic Kelly, out of Georgia. That was a surprise, because he played at Georgia last year as a true freshman, and he was a really good player for them as a true freshman. And he is someone that Georgia fans told me, and a lot of us other Ohio State fans, maybe even you also, you saw this. Yeah, we took one of their guys. We took one of the players that they were really excited for in the upcoming years to watch play in Athens, Georgia. But now he's in Columbus, so what's he going to do? After that, you're talking about some really young guys. And of course, the cornerback room is very young. Jermaine's a senior, but everyone else is a sophomore or younger. Here, you're talking about, at nickel, you're going to have Earl, but I'm talking about on the outside, on the boundary. Now you have Cam Calhoun, ex-Michigan player. Teammates with Jermaine Matthews coming out of high school. I'm interested to see what he looks like at Ohio State. I don't know how much he's going to play at Ohio State in terms of playing at corner. I'm sure they're going to find some use for him, because you can't just roll out there with 2-3 corners. You can't do that throughout games. Maybe in later in games, you want some depth. You want some depth for later in the road. Of course, with the way that college football is set up and how it looks like it's going in the future, you need that depth. So really interested to see how that works out. After that, of course, you're talking about Jay Timmons. You're talking about Jordan Thomas, 2 true freshmen coming out of this year's class. Those younger guys and Cam Calhoun, those three players are the ones I want to hear most about. I know what Jermaine Matthews can be, and what he is. I know what Devin Sanchez. I have nothing much to say about him. Devin Sanchez is Timothy. Dominic Kelly, stupid talented. I think he's going to be a player for us. But the other 3 guys, Calhoun, Timmons, Jordan, Thomas, I need to see what they look like in the spring. And I'm really excited. Interested is a better way to say. I'm really excited to see what's said about them, because if they can get along faster, especially because they're younger guys, they're going to get more reps because of that, because the room is so young. That can bode well for Ohio State going into the season. And then next, who is the leader on defense? Look, Cade McDonald is gone. Caleb Downs is gone. And of course, big boy Sonny Styles is gone. And Igmanosin is gone. Those guys are all leaders for Ohio State over the last few years, and especially last year. So for Ohio State right now, you got to find that guy. Is it going to be Edric? Is it going to be Kenyatta? Is it going to be Peyton Pierce? Is it going to be Jermaine? I would like, for me personally, I would love to see Jermaine step into that role. That's what we need him to do. So and I need him to play better for more than half a season. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what that room looks like, but really interested to see what the young guys do in the spring. But the leadership on this team is where it starts. And during we didn't hear much coming out of the winter workouts, and that's usually where leaders are built. So of course we don't know who the captains are going to be. So once that comes out, I think, or Iron Buckeyes. So once that comes out, I think then we're going to know who the leaders are for this Ohio State Buckeyes team in 2026. And then my last question here for the spring, going to spring, is what is Arthur Smith and Ryan Day's vision for this offense? Ryan Day, he talks a lot about how, and I think this is just common sense, but he talks a lot about how no team is the same from the year in and year out, and how they're all shaped differently. And with Arthur Smith now being here, of course, Ryan Day's third OC in 3 years now. How does he integrate what he likes to do with the scheme that Ryan Day runs? They are two vastly different things. Ryan Day, of course, is pass first. He's very get the ball out down the field, get it to the boundaries. Whereas Arthur Smith, he likes to run the ball. He likes to get the ball to the tight ends and things of that nature, run to the outside. So yeah, what does Arthur Smith and Ryan Day's vision look like for this offense? And that's really important because it starts with them and then it goes to the quarterback. And again, this is Julian, and this, I think this is the most important part about having Ryan Day. With Julian Sand not having consistency with play callers, it's big that Ryan Day has been there in this time frame, because Ryan Day is always, he's going to put the hammer down and no one's just going to change what his offense does. But I think that also having someone like Arthur Smith, who is a tenured NFL guy, a very smart OC, that's why he has jobs in the NFL, and that's why guys wanted to still interview him for NFL positions. That's really important for Julian. And then, of course, that all snowballs down to everyone else on the offense. So, again, what is Smith and Day's vision for the offense? Well, everybody, if you just jumping in here, please go ahead and hit that like button. Please go ahead and subscribe. See, we got some more people in here. EVC, you in here. Blue. Hey, all right, B-Dub. I see you here. Blue Wolverine. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and read this real quick. Shout out to my guy, Dom B. He's gives the 199. Says, look at the wide brim. Come on. I wear hats like, well, it's my golf hat. So if the sun's out, you gotta wear it. So yeah, man. Well, I don't say, like, what's wrong with this hat? I like, it's a regular brim. You may do this with it. I mean, honestly, it probably wouldn't be a bad choice, but no, I like it. Protects me from the sun. But Julian Sand needs to learn Ultra Instinct this season. If he were to do that, I'm gonna be honest, Don. If I had Ultra Instinct, I probably wouldn't be playing football. I'd probably just be taking over the world. But if you guys don't know what Ultra Instinct is, that's Dragon Ball Super reference right there. So shout out to Don B for that. But let's move on here and get a quick message here from the Voice of College Football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the Voice of College Football, and let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. Check out the experience of our current partners, that being Win Agency and our friends over at FanDuel, posted here on the screen. And just like them, we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@bocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@bocfb.com today. All right, now let's talk about some players going into the spring. Some of the guys that I want to hear about, some of the guys that I believe need to have big springs, guys that I believe need to take the next step during the spring, and guys that I'm just really interested to hear about how they're either adapting to Ohio State or how they have progressed. So the first guy we're going to start with here, we're going to start with the offense. We're going to go with true freshman Legend Bay. Now, again, earlier we talked about the running back room and how is it going to shape up, especially with the injuries or the surgeries that Isaiah West and Bo Jackson just had as they're out for the spring, and who's going to make the next step. But the reason I'm saying Legend Bay right now is players to watch because he's not just a running back. Me personally, I have compared him to he's not as big as Braxton, but he's a faster Braxton Miller. Of course, I'm saying that because he played quarterback in high school. But just about when it comes to the skill positions outside of tight end, there is nothing that Favorite Key can't do with the ball in his. I'm not Favorite Key, but Legend Bay can't do with the ball in his hands. Whether it be running back, slot receiver, like an H-back or something like that, or in the return game, I think that he is someone Ohio State is going to quickly get acclimated into the offense. And I think it's also because he needs to be. When you have a special athlete like him who can run, when you have guys that are the elite of the elite when it comes to athletic ability, you have to play them. You have to play guys like him. You have to play the Braxton Millers. You have to play the Ted Ginn Juniors. Early. You have to play the Chris Gambles of the world. And I believe he is one of those type of players that Ohio State now has. And I'll tell you what, man. In Ohio State, we went through it to get him. We all remember that process and the stories that were popping up when he was between us and Tennessee and everything going on in his personal life. It wasn't easy. In Ohio State, they were trying to bust down doors to get him. And thankfully, Legend Bay committed to Ohio State. And so after asking for his release from Tennessee. So yeah, the first one is Legend Bay. Next, I'm going to go with Kyle Parker, the transfer wide receiver from LSU, another guy just like Dominic Kelly, come from an SEC school, a guy that a lot of LSU fans wanted to keep there. I believe he can be a huge difference maker for Ohio State coming in this year. And it's because there's not much that he can't do, and he's really athletic. He can make guys miss. He's really good at getting yak. Yak and rack. He's a really good player, and he's young. I think that he could possibly take some snaps for Brandon Ennis. I think that he could play on the other side of Jeremiah Smith, because he's already ahead of the guys behind him. He's not one of those 2-star, 3-star guys that just happen to get the ball. No, he was playing football at LSU and catching touchdowns in the SEC. That's what he was doing. So yeah, really excited to see what he can do at Ohio State. So yeah, number 2 there is Kyle Parker. Number 3, we talked about him earlier, Ian Moore. If he has taken the jump that we've heard from some people around the Ohio State program, close to the Ohio State program, I think there's a really good chance he's gonna take that right tackle spot. And my guy, our friend Mike here, he talked about possibly taking the left tackle spot and moving Sarah Bell over the right guard. And Mike's not the only person I have heard that from. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. I think that might shape up well for him. But I would love to see what Ian Moore's doing in the spring. I want to see his feet. I want to see how he gets when he goes against guys like Zion Grady and guys like Quay Russo, really athletic, and Epi, really athletic edge rushes and defensive ends. I want to see how he handles that. Last year, that was a Achilles heel of Ohio State. the whole right side of the offensive line. But you got to be, man, that right tackle spot is so vital because that's where usually your best defensive end goes, right up against him. So yeah, Ian Moore is the other guy I want to watch. Next is James Smith, from transfer defensive tackle from Alabama. Now, super talented, has all the ability in the world, but he's one of those guys that just needs to be more consistent, kind of like an Edric Houston. And I think that if he is able to hit, if Larry Johnson is able to get out of him what a lot of coaches thought he had in him coming out of high school, this is going to send Ohio State's defense to another level. Because Edric doesn't play bad. Edric plays really. He plays good, but he's just he just has to be more consistent. But if those two guys can make jumps coming out of last year, but specifically James Smith, I think that takes this Ohio State defensive line and the defense to another level and the team to another level. Because I think James Smith, he's not as big as the last two defensive tackles Ohio State has had. We've had some big boys, 300 pounds plus, 320 plus. He's around the 290 range. But he can if he can come into this spring and we hear good things about him, awesome. And of course, sometimes you gotta parse through it. You don't, because sometimes people just feed you things that coaches just give coach speak about players. But what the cool thing about being a Buckeye is that a lot of the Buckeye media is able to go in there and send us videos of the things that are happening. And Ohio State allows that to happen. And so I want to see things from James Smith, especially because I think he's going to go against really good offensive linemen in practice, guys like Luke Montgomery, the Pancake King. So there's that. Next is Epi. One of my favorite players on this team. He was one of my favorite recruits coming out of high school, Bosco in California. Really athletic, all the potential in the world. But he, again, like I said, when we talked about the edge rushes in that room, he has to make a jump because we need him this year. We really need him. And I've heard that Epi's always Epi said he's going to be at Ohio State as long as Ohio State needs him. He's going to make sure that Ohio State needs him. Well, I'm here to tell you, Epi, we need you. We need you. So he's the next guy. The next one's another transfer is Terry Moore. Now, Terry Moore in 2024 was one of the best DBs in the country. And if not that, one of the best in the ACC. Now going to Ohio State after being injured last year, basically missing the whole season in 2025. He's another guy that if he's healthy, if he's playing like he did 2 years ago, there is so much talent. I just want to say this quick. There's a lot of talent on this Ohio State defense where a lot of things don't have to go right, but a lot of guys have to show improve. And when you've taken a year off because of an injury, not because you're hurt, but because of a real injury, you kind of got to rebuild yourself up, right? Especially your confidence. Football is 50% physical, 50% mental. And I would probably lean 55-45 more so mental. And so because there are smaller guys that play this game that can knock bigger guys on their arse. So yeah, Terry Moore is the next one because he's going to be a starter for Ohio State. He's going to start for Ohio State. So we need him to be big this year, especially after losing guys like Caleb Downs. Quay Russo. Another guy, another defensive end. Not high productivity last year. Another, 5-star kid, blue chipper coming out of high school. Hasn't really done much in his college career so far. Gonna need him to. Because and the real cool part is this. He's coming from Alabama where over the last 2 years, you had been under a head coach who doesn't put a lot of emphasis on defense. He's more of an offensive guy. And so for me personally, and I'm going to give Larry Johnson the benefit of the doubt. I give players the benefit of the doubt year to year unless it's like a long track record of you not doing a doggone thing. I trust Larry Johnson to get guys ready and to put guys in the best position he can. And if it doesn't work out, he's going to find the next guy to do the job. Same thing that happened with Bo Atkinson last year. He couldn't get him to where he needed him to be. Okay, fine. Zion get in the game. Oh, you can do it? Cool. That's your spot now. So it's him. And then Dominic Kelly. And again, a lot of transfer here on defense I'm talking about. And actually just in general, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transfers we talk about out of the 8. I'm going to take out Cam Calhoun because I really don't know what to think about him right now. Only 3 corners on this team have played big, valuable minutes. Jermaine Matthews, and then 2 true sophomores, Dominic Kelly and Devin Sanchez. So going into this season or into the spring, though I believe Dominic Kelly is already a good player, another guy. Hey, listen, you're being thrown to the line of fire here. You're playing at Ohio State. You're not going to start, but you're going to play a lot. More than likely, he's going to be the first guy off the sideline if they want to rotate Jermaine or rotate Devin Sanchez and bring him in, because I don't think he's going to be Cam Calhoun. Cam Calhoun isn't better than Dominic Kelly. He's older, but he's not better. So yeah, those are the 8 guys I have, the players to watch going into the spring. Again, I'll read them off to you. Legend Bay, Kyle Parker, Ian Moore, and then on defense, James Smith, Ebisi Natele, and then Terry Moore, Quay Russo, and Dominic Kelly. So let me know in the comments, who are the players that you guys are really interested to see in the spring? Who are the guys that you think are the ones that we need to be watching? Again, I think that, last year's transfer class wasn't that good, but I think this year we're going to see a drastic lean to the other side where all these guys are going to show. And again, these are guys that have played big games. Like Bo Atkinson, he was at North Carolina, so I can't really say that about him from coming out of last year. But for guys like for Quay Russo, for guys like James Smith, this is a place. Ohio State's a place where you can come and reinvent yourself, and that's kind of what you do in general when you enter the transfer portal and you go somewhere else, or just in general when you transferred even in the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, and the early 2010s. It gives you a chance to reinvent yourself, and you also get a chance here to play for a coach like Larry Johnson. And you also get a chance to play for a national championship winning coach like Ryan Day. So, it will be right to imagine, to believe that these guys know what they're here for. They know what the goal is and what's expected of them. So, yeah, really excited. Again, spring football is about to start, man. And honestly, what I love about this is that, as soon as the season ends, man, we're already here. January is gone. February is gone. We're in March and we're in spring. And it's time to get football rolling. This is the time of the year where things start to pick up. It starts to pick up. We hear more news. We get more stuff going around the program. Hear more about players. This is a fun time of the season. I actually enjoy this offseason. I enjoy the offseason because there's different things to talk about. Whereas like at the end of the season, we're only talking about the game. We're only talking about the team. Or in terms of what's happening on the field. But right now, we're talking about everything else that's leading into the 2026 season, where Ohio State, by betting odds per FanDuel, is expected to go and win a national championship. So yeah, man. But that's that right there. Again, everybody, if you're just now joining us, please go ahead and hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the content that we bring to you here. Myself, Mike, Mark Rogers, and myself. My goodness, man. I'm just messing up all over the place here today. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and here we go. Shout out to my guy Montana for the $2. He said, "No, I'd rather be a Zenny." I love these deep. I love these Dragon Ball Z references. He said, "No, I'd rather be Zenny Big Brim G." Oh, be a Zenny. All right. Where you mean like? Hold up a second. Wait a second. Wait, what do you mean, Zenny? I was thinking about the guy in their series. What are you talking about? No, I'd rather be a Zenny Big Brim G. What you mean? I don't even know what that means. I'm not hip. I'm old. Then shouts my guy Don, my guy Montana for the $5 again. Says certain SEC fans are now saying Ohio State should leave the Big Ten and join the SEC since their fave schools recruits always leave to play at the OSU. Hey, you know what's actually look? I don't believe they would actually want that. I think they're just blowing smoke, and this is the reason why. If Ohio State were to come to the SEC, and I don't think SEC fans actually understand this, we would be the biggest brand in their conference, and it wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close. And honestly, I think for Ohio State, there is no reason to do that. I think we will run. Listen, we play in a tougher conference already, especially at the top. So, I mean, the Big Ten right now is the conference of champions. So, no, there's no reason to. We make more money over here. Y'all broke down there. Industrial money over cotton money, you know. But and the other funny part is Montana. You know what I read today? Greg Sankey, their the SEC commissioner, he was talking. I read an article earlier today about, and he was talking about the SEC leaving the NCAA or the or D1 football and all the FBS and all that. And I'm like, why would you do that? You're not serious. That's not a serious conversation to have because you're not doing it. It's like the dumbass Michigan fans. They say, "Oh, you're gonna fine us for stealing signs? Oh, we should leave the Big Ten." You're not going to. You're just not going to. That's dumb logic. And so yeah, that's funny, man. I don't understand. SEC fans don't want that problem. Come on, Montana. They don't want that problem. Because what would happen is that Ohio State would definitely go ahead and take over. Oh, I got to read this. Oh, hell yeah, because Goku and Vegeta are now Destroyer and Angel. Both have Ultra Instinct 2, Ultra Instinct Koken. Yep. Yeah, okay, yeah, because, yep. Goku does use it with the Kaioken. And Ultra Ego 2, Vegeta. Yep, Ultra Ego. Yep. Yeah, because what? Because, Vegeta has, he has Destroyer powers now. Sorry, we're nerding this up. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Look at this. Patrick Ramsey 8327 says nobody is scared of the Big Ten. Yeah, you are. And it's okay. Like, listen. It's okay to tell the truth. And like my dad told me as a kid, if you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble. And that's what you SEC fans have to do right now. Like, I mean, listen, shout out to my boy Rye. Shout out to my guy Keon. Shout out to Bank. Georgia hasn't won a playoff game in 3 years. Well, Alabama, not last year. Alabama missed the playoff the year before, the extended playoff last year prior to. Lost to Michigan. Look, man, I get it, bro. I get it. You guys really want to hold on to something that was there for a very long time, and you dominated this sport. I have no problem with acknowledging that. But though it could be 1A, 1B, but B still comes behind A, you guys are a tier lower than us. Just barely. You're just barely in the same tier, but you come second. And it's okay, man. That happens with time. You know, even Rome fell. Even Egypt fell. So are you guys. And that's who you are. You're Rome and you fell. You burned down. It's okay. I understand. It's tough to watch. I didn't like watching the Wolverines win it either, but they did it. I know damn sure you guys didn't like watching us do it, but we did it. And then, of course, India. I mean, we saw what Indiana did to Alabama. I'll say this: I never seen Ohio State get their ass beat like that by Indiana. Never, not like that. God dog, 38-3. And the thing is, hey, Daniel, you know what's so funny about that? And what's so funny about that is that when they were down, I think it was 24-0 at that point, late in the third. That's when they decided on fourth down to kick that field goal. Y'all are some bitches because you're scared. Alabama's scared to. Well, shout out to my guy Jackson. I love you, man. You're a Bama fan, boy. And if you don't watch Alabama, The Voice of College Football, make sure you go watch that with Jackson. Great show. You kicked a field goal down 24-0 in a playoff. That was one of the weakest things I've ever seen. Like I would rather watch my Buck, like Ohio State getting beat 31-0 to Clemson in the playoffs was bad. Y'all, the way y'all lost 38-3 and kicked that field goal, that was much worse. That was much worse. So yeah, the SEC that is down bad, and we all know it, and it's okay. It's okay to tell the truth. It really is. Now, last thing we're going to talk about here, everybody, because this is news that I think we should pay attention to, because this is Ohio news. Ohio State. There's a kid in Columbus, a highly touted kid in Columbus, who has now gotten down to his top 3, and that player is Davis Seaman out of Bishop Watterson in Columbus, Ohio, the number 20 interior offensive line in the class of 2027. His 3 schools, of course, including Ohio State, are now Auburn and Penn State. You take the guess of where he's going. Now, of course, he's still got to make his decision. I would expect him to make one, honestly, if not beginning of the season, before the season. A really good player, really fast. And actually here, I actually have this right here, so I can show you guys exactly what we're working with here. And he's also a lacrosse player. And you're going to see that because lacrosse players, of course, you got to be really athletic to play lacrosse. You got to have a really good side-to-side movement. Honestly, like lacrosse is kind of like football and rugby. It's like that, but using a stick, a net, and a ball, right? But you have pads. You are making contact. You're making a lot of cuts, trying to make guys miss, passing the ball around. But let's watch this real quick. I want to show you guys David Seaman here. Really good offensive player. Really good offensive lineman. Now he's going to be he's being recruited as an interior offensive lineman, but right here you're going to see him playing at right tackle. Let's get this started here. Now, right here, number 66. What you're going to notice soon and really quickly here is that he puts his hands on guys and he gets them down to the floor, just like that. And what I love about this play, real quick, I'm going to bring this back. And I'm going to pause this because you see where the ball is going. Running back has the ball. You see number 74 there. He's trying to cut inside and get to that running back. And if Seaman is not there, he probably gets the tackle. But what ends up happening, boom, he gets him on the ground. And this is going to go for a touchdown for Watterson. You watch him again here. Eyes are to his left. Helps out. Still, boom, come back. Put the kid on his ass. Love to see it. Love to see it. Right here, drive, punish the kid. He wants a block in the back. That's not happening. You got owned. Again, here we go. 5 right here on the 5-yard line. Push, drives guy into the ground. Like he's just a really strong player. And sadly, like this is only a few of his games. I think it was week 1 through 5 of his junior season. Great pass pro right here. Like that guy's just tiny. He's not doing anything with them. But yeah, this is a good player for Ohio State. And Tyler Bowen. We've seen this now in last cycle and this cycle. He is focusing on Ohio players when it comes to the offensive line. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've said it 100 times here on this program. Getting the blue chip players, especially the 5 stars, is awesome. Those are really highly talented, athletic guys. I will happily take the 3-star Ohio-born kid who wants to play football for Ohio State and wants to develop at Ohio State. I will happily take that. And, of course, he's not a 3-star kid. He's a blue chipper. Penn State, Auburn. Those are his final three choices with the Ohio State Buckeyes. But no, I'm not someone. He was offside, so he was offside right there. But but hey, great block though. Got the guy that bounced it out. But this is going to be a lock for Ohio State, and there's no way that Ohio State, there's no way Tyler Bowen, there's no way Ryan Day is going to allow this kid to get out of there. And honestly, I would love for Arthur Smith to be in touch with this kid. I would love for that also. So yeah, there we go. That's David Seaman. Again, down to his final three schools: Auburn, State, and the Ohio. Well, everybody, that's going to be tonight's show. Actually, no, it's not yet. It's not yet. And there's a reason why. Because of our friends over at FanDuel. There's something I want to bring to everyone's attention here. And this is a team that I'm actually really high on going into this season because I believe this team, this Big Ten team, is being overlooked. That's not a spider, it's just a fly. Cool. I believe this. If you guys were watching last week, I'm going to clip it up and drop it because it was hilarious. During the show, a spider just came down and just dropped on my desk. And I don't have full blown arachnophobia as Jam maybe some people believe, but I don't mess with spiders. I just don't, and I don't know why. I know why they were created. I think that the world would be a better place without them. But I want to show this right here because this team, as I said, is being overlooked, and I think going into the 2026 season, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. And that team is Penn State. Now, Penn State right now on FanDuel, the odds they have, I think it's 7.5. It's 7.5 right now. But I want to run through this schedule because I believe they're going to hit the over on that. I think they're going to get over the 7.5 wins. I think they're going to at least get to 8. And this is the reason why. When you look at their schedule, it's not overly hard. It's just not. You got VMI, that's 1. You got Old Dominion, that's 2. You got at Maryland. Now, Maryland has one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, but I still believe Penn State has more talent than them, and they're going to win that game there. Then you go to Boston College. That's a win for me. You play Pittsburgh. Love that Penn State and Pittsburgh are playing. That's a Penn State dub. We're at 5. You play at Cal. That's going to be tough. I'm not going to give that a win because Sigabatele, dog. JKS, he's a complete dog over there at quarterback. And then you got Georgia Tech. I think that's a win. I personally think that's a win. So now we're at 6. You play at Clemson. I said Penn State earlier, everybody. I meant Virginia Tech. I said Ace. I said Big Ten. I meant Virginia Tech. I was thinking about James Franklin the whole time. And I just got to remember he's at Virginia Tech now. But Clemson at Clemson, I think that's going to be a dub for them. I think Clemson, or it could be a dub. But I don't think Clemson's going to be all that great next year. I think that's a falling program. And sadly, my guy, Sammy Brown, is going to die with the ship. But that's another game. At SMU, another big game they're playing, but that's going to be a winnable game. Versus Stanford, we're at 7. Versus Miami, tough. But then you got Virginia. I believe that's 8 built-in wins for them right there. So, yeah, if I were you today, I will go ahead and hit that over right now for Virginia Tech for the 7.5 over there with our friends over at FanDuel. But, yeah, Virginia Tech, I think they're getting overlooked right now. But I think there's a chance that they surprise a lot of people and have a great season. But, everyone, that is tonight's show. Glad that you were able to join us tonight. Again, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content that we bring to you. Also, check us out on Wednesday with Mike and Mark Rogers. Mark Rogers at 4 p.m., Mike at 7:30, and myself for the call-in show, your guys' day at 7:30. Again, hit the like button, everybody. Glad that you could be here. And as always, OH, IO.